welcome to Spouse Antics. We've got about 5 videos coming up back to back, week to week, released every Saturday. This is the first one. What went wrong with the clutch in the Volvo? We look at it in great detail. Let's check it out. Welcome to Spouse Antics. So, Volvo. Last video we looked at the reinforcements, and now it's time to look at putting this thing back together and back in the car. While the engine's been on the engine stand, I flipped it upside down and resealed the oil pan. And that's about it really. Oh, and still I found out that the dipstick was the main reason for the oil leak. When I put it in there, it wasn't in straight, so I just put a new seal on that. Had to give it a little bit of a bend and weld a new bracket on it, and now that is minty fresh. But today I want to talk about the whole reason this started. Michael Jackson glove, not the reason. The whole reason this started and how the Volvo ended up in 1,000 pieces. It all started with a smoked clutch at the drag strip. Now I've had a chance to have a good look at the clutch and the assembly. I'm going to talk you through it and show you what went wrong and also what I'm doing to rectify it. There was a few other things. So this car is running a 6-speed J160. If you're curious about this gearbox, I've got a full video, little link on the top. Click on that. That'll take you to the full video, just talking to you more about the J160. Well, that screen's a bit dirty. Is that better? On the channel, go and check it out. It's probably episode number 6 or 7 or something. I forget now. So I've got all the old bits here and also the new parts that we shall be replacing. Let's take a look. Let's start with the old. So this is a lexibreak kit. And what does that comprise of? Well, he sells you a kit involving this modified bell housing. Again, this is all in the other video. That's been machined and messed around with to work with 1, 2, 3 UZs. But to make it work, you need a few things. Number 1 is you need, oh, this adapter also comes with it. Talk more in a minute. You need a flywheel, because obviously the LS 430 never came with a flywheel. What he does is you see on the side there, if you look in the middle, those holes are sort of overlated. They're actually CNC overlated. And that is to make a MR2 flywheel work on a 1UZ, which is all groovy. What's the MR2, a 2 litre or something? Not a lot. So that's that flywheel. And then I used with it a Comp Clutch 2 clutch and clutch cover. Bada boom. With lexibreak Mark 1 release bearing housing stuff. This was all groovy. But when I overheated the clutch, it got really hot, and warped. I believe this is warped. I don't think they come like that from the factory. But that is like conied. I'm pretty sure the comp cover doesn't come like that from the factory, and I would have noticed it. Then when that happened, only the very outside of the clutch disc, as you can see there, was touching on the flywheel and on the pressure plate, meaning the only point of contact was that teeny corner bit. And so it then just wore that out super quick till it hit the rivets, and the rest, as they say, is history. You can see that clutch cover is pretty boned, and the fact it's warped, completely boned. So that is scrapido. Been thinking that maybe this flywheel is a little bit too light and zippy for a Volvo with a V8. And it was always a little bit zippy on the pedal. So I decided it was time to upgrade everything. So start off with the flywheel. This is a custom made flywheel, and it is quite a bit heavier than the MR2 one. I believe the figures are about 7 and 12. That's the weight difference. So I'm hoping that'll just help out a V8 because you do a little bit more weight on the flywheel than the MR2. But say, there was no stock application, this is a custom made unit. To go with that, I decided against the comp clutch for 2 reasons. Number 1 is it's really expensive and I've got to buy the whole kit again, even though I've got another pressure plate. Number 2, it was kind of bitey and a bit aggressive, which is cool, but I've been told that these clutches can handle. So this is another MR2 turbo clutch kit, but apparently this can actually handle the torque and the power that the 3UZ delivers. I am super skeptical. This is like a standard clutch, nothing fancy, nothing like, literally it looks like quite a nicely made clutch, to be fair. But yeah, but this is a standard unit. So, but people promised me that this can take it. So this is like 150 quid for the clutch kit, as opposed to the comp clutch kit, which is like 350. What I get out of mine? I got like 3,000 miles out of that thing. So that's knackered. So anyway, so we're starting fresh. One other problem we came across was clutch release bearing. You see how that is eaten into the clutch, the pressure plate. We're not quite sure why it did that. Whether we knew there was a bad batch of bearings, don't think it was that, or maybe it was a lot. Whether it was continuously touching, caused heat, then I don't know. We don't really know why that wore out. But what we did realise is this original lexibreak adapter was spinning on the housing. Whether it was spinning because that got so hot and jammed, or whether it was spinning because there's just not a lot of friction. Anywho, not the end of the world, because the good people at lexibreak.com sent me this little bad boy. This is the new version of this. It is an upgrade. What it has is the original machining to take the spring of the original spring, which hips around these clips, and with those collars will stop it sping-ding-a-linging. And also a brand new bearing, obviously, which is actually a different make and looks way stronger. So, new one of them, going on to a new one of them, going on to a new one of them. All of that gear needs to go in here and on the engine. Long story short, out with the old clutch and flywheel, and in with a new. So we're going for a heavier flywheel and a standard-ish clutch. Who knows how it will work out? It's worth a go. We're going to try these things. So there we go. I've got to clean this thing up because it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting for when that clutch nuked itself. And start putting all these bits back together. So yeah, let's crack on. Alright, well that's that all installed and moving lovely. Moving to the back of the gearbox, we had a weep from this seal here, but don't panic. Bosch Genuine part number there for people who might need it. Just gonna whip that out and swap that over. So we've got the flywheel back on. Now this is the new heavier version of the flywheel. Got all the bolts in. That was a bit of a bastard, and I lost one of these, but we managed to put it all back together. So we're just about to bang on this clutch. using the alignment tool. So first, we need to use the alignment tool, and what that does is, when the clutch is on the flywheel, and you put the pressure plate on, you put that in, and it goes into that bearing. What that means is when you go to put the gearbox on, which has a metal version of this, it lines up straight away. Saves you a lot of messing about. And then, on goes the pressure plate. There we go. Now we've just got to bolt this all down nice and evenly with special bolts. Sweet. That'll do. That is it for this episode. We see what went wrong with the clutch. Let's see if the new one can hold together. Who knows? In the next episode, we start putting shears back together. Get the engine back in the Volvo Lovey and sort it out. Next week, same place, same time. See you later. Don't forget, like, subscribe, write some chat. Say whatever you want in the chat, I don't mind. Take it easy.